Hi, I'm Jesse Mangan.
I'm Rob Wipond, and this is a PsychForce Short.
PsychForce Short.
So Jesse, recently I did this investigative report for Mad in America about the politics of civil commitment in Oregon. And it's very interesting and representative of what's happening nationally. So what I found there is they created a work group, the government did, it created a work group, a fairly diverse work group of people who are both for proponents of expanding force treatment and people who are trying to reduce or eliminate it in some way, had a lot of concerns about it. And this work group actually came up with 51 unanimous recommendations for change in the civil commitment process. But along the way, media coverage of what was going on was extraordinarily misleading. So they were saying that practically no one was being committed and there were practically no beds for anyone. But by the time the end of this process was done, it was very clear that orders of magnitude more people were in fact being civilly committed, and there were far more beds than people had accounted for. Nevertheless, in this context, or really thanks to that sort of new information they had, they made very good recommendations, I thought. They're not radical recommendations, but good compromise positions in the sense that they recommended better forms of due process, that people would be advised of their rights to have a lawyer, and be certain other types of protections and notifications, that everybody recognized that this was important for people facing civil commitment. And then they also recommended a wider range of options to be available. So currently, of course, if you're locked up in a psychiatric hospital, but the only option you have usually is they're going to forcibly drug you in some way. And if you don't like the particular drug they give you another one. If you don't like any of them, there's really nothing else available, and they just force it on you. So in this case, they were saying they were going to look at types of non-drug therapies and other types of support systems for people who are facing it in the community, supportive housing, and so on. So that seemed good to me too. And then finally, they were recommending simply better data collection. This is one of my own hobby horses, where we know almost nothing about what the heck is happening to people when they're locked up, who's getting locked up, why are they getting locked up, and do they get better or worse, or what happens to them after they're locked up. So this group was recommending that we in fact start collecting that kind of data. So that all seemed really great to me. Unfortunately, at the end of this, what actually happened was a few politicians who are very hardline, pro-force politicians, the National Alliance on Mental Illness out of Oregon, and NAMI, and Treatment Advocacy Center, they kind of allied to push through a bill that didn't address any of those 51 recommendations, and instead went against what the work group had recommended and simply expanded the criteria to allow more people to be civilly committed than were being incarcerated already. And that's the only thing that happened here. And so I was kind of outraged by it. And yeah, just wondering what some of your thoughts on it are.
I mean, it's really disappointing, but it seems like a fairly common trend in politics that they get to say they did something, right? They created a work group and they don't have to follow the recommendations. They can create the illusion of progress. What did we do? We did something, and then they just do what they were planning on doing the entire time anyway. And so I would advise or recommend everyone in Oregon pay close attention to your legislators and whether or not they were involved in that and how they responded to it. And if you want better representation, change the legislators.
Yeah, you're probably right. It probably was just for show. It's sad, but you're probably right.
PsychForce Short. Short. PsychForce Short. PsychForce